Hi everyone, this is AutoML and training meeting on 3rd of November. Welcome everyone. I will start sharing my screen. So we have today a couple of items in the agenda, but before we start, I just want to give an update that if you want to add something in our future meetings, please feel free to update our doc. We are welcome for any talks for training and AutoML. In the meantime, if you want to see the past recordings, this is the YouTube channel. I just try to upload all the recent recordings there. And on each particular item, you can see the recording on the YouTube. So we have a couple of items today. So I think we can start from the KubeCon because it was very exciting. And I know Josh, you already mentioned, we have some sort of the event there for Kubeflow community, right? Which is very, very interesting to see. From our side, we have one talk that I strongly recommend you to check from me and Kamanos about the current updated Kubeflow UIs. And in the meantime, also the KDP experiments. So do we have anything else that we want to show to the people, maybe from other folks from the community, that we can post it in the doc? Maybe any other interesting talks from the KubeCon in LA?
The CERN folks had an interesting presentation about KubeCon on KubeCon AI for everyone interested. They're doing a lot of extra things on top of Kubeflow, so it's interesting to see how they've curated it to their needs. And they are also using AutoML a lot.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we can. I will also post the link there. So it's was from the KServe, right? And how they apply the AutoML there, right?
Oh no, it was from CERN, CERN, CERN.
I see, CERN, from CERN. Yeah, I probably need to take a look. Do you have a link, by the way, that I can post it here?
I'm checking for it now. I'll comment in a second.
Okay. Yeah, I think Conference today was very good. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to travel to the US, but I think we had a couple of new people to just attend this event, and I could see the interest on the overall ML community in Cloud Native. So this is definitely the good thing, to just have an interaction with our customers, and what Josh was doing also was really great. I think we definitely currently the current situation in the world is not very easy to have the event that we have previously, for example 2018, right? We have some sort of a contribution summits, I remember, but we definitely should have more this sort of the event. For example, maybe what we have in July, or from AutoML training working group, or what we have in June from KF Soaring working group. I don't know, Josh, what do you think? What should be our next step to the interaction with our end users from the Kubeflow perspective?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do is, as we plan for Kubeflow 1.5, is to develop a user group. And so we'll recruit at least one user to help each of the working groups. And that user can be an advisor. What I'm also thinking is that I'd like that user to help design, test, and document at least one PR in the next release. So they'll be working, at least on one PR in the next working group. This is my theory, is that if we can get a user group together and give people a very specific set of ephemeral requirements of responsibilities, that hopefully we can get some people to participate and provide input, and then more people will, as we get more releases and more people in the user group. This is my theory right now.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point, because when they from my perspective, when any sort of the new people when they try to just submit just one PR, they just feel they're getting involved in the release part and in the whole community. And it can be anything, right? And by doing this, you definitely can like attract more contributors, more like the full-time contributors in the future. So yeah, that's definitely the good point. The question is like how to get the particular like interest from the users, right? Because Kubeflow is like set of the different components, and like some of them may be interesting in like only pipelines or maybe only in training. So do you think? Do you have like sort of the group where you can ask people what exactly they want to like bring to the community?
So I've just been socializing this with people over the last 2 weeks since KubeCon. I have had several people say that they want to, but I haven't asked them to join a particular working group or give them specific requirements yet. I wanted to kind of socialize it among the working group teams. You're the first one that I'm really formally kind of bringing this out. I think that we probably need to document it and then go out and recruit people, and we'll see how well we do.
Yeah, I think it's a good point here to just try to see. And by the way, like speaking about Kubeflow 1.5, do we have any specific like date when we're planning to maybe have it after the new year or like in January, February? Because like it's
good question. Yeah, good question. The Cave Serve group said that they were planning for first quarter, relatively early in the year. I think that, you know, most of the other teams are probably thinking about that same time. So Kimonis is here. He's been a driving factor. I assume he'll probably be involved in 1.5, but my view is, you know, we probably want something in the first quarter. I'd prefer something earlier in the first quarter, but I'm open to schedules and requirements. And, you know, I think this was supposed to be a feature release in 1.5, so maybe we need more time. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I'm not sure you have enough time until like this this year, because like since all of the release process was like very early, and the process like the work that we're trying to do with the new like distributions testing phase and the feature freeze state actually phase takes a lot of time from my perspective, right? Because like, come on, point me if I'm wrong, but we started to cut the release from in June, right? Oh no, sorry, in start of August, and we only like ends in right before the KubeCon in October. So it takes like almost 2 months to prepare the release. Yeah, and the question is like, will it be faster in the future, or will we follow the same process in the next releases? Yeah, because I don't know. Do you have any thoughts, Kamaras, on it, on the release process? Was it like fast for you, or was it like good enough to just give this amount of time for the distributions to test it?
So for me, it's two things. One is if 2 months are enough for a development cycle, this is one thing to consider. The second is, as you mentioned, the fact that it was 3 weeks for feature freeze and another 3 weeks for distribution testing. So from my perspective, maybe we could maybe do like 2 weeks of feature freeze. In my mind, I think it's not really a. This is mostly for the manifest, but
Yeah.
let's take AutoML as an example here as well, because I think that the release cycle for Katib got synced with the release of Kubeflow. So in an ideal world where we have a lot of developers and cycles, ideally, once the feature freeze starts, most of people, everyone just cuts their branch, creates their RC branches, and start focusing on wrapping open PRs and submit fixes there. So in an ideal world, the master branch could still keep on being updated. So having 3 months, having like 3 weeks for feature freeze and distribution testing should not be really blocking. This shouldn't mean that for 1.5 months the development should freeze for a project, because ideally, once the feature freeze is there, you check what bugs you are getting reported, and we fix them and stabilize the release. But yeah, indeed, it can it can also mean that if we have a lot of bugs or if we have a lot of work, that the feature freeze phase kind of puts a block to the development cycle, since we say, okay, we won't put any new features for 1.5 months. Let's focus on bug fixes.
Go ahead.
How did you interpret it as part of developing AutoML? Did having a feature freeze help?
Yeah, I mean, it was good for us, but I think it's like it should take only 1 day, not like the period of time. And the working group should be responsible to like stop delivering all of new features after this date. For me, it's like very obvious to do that, because like I remember for Kedip, we even now, I mean, we can, I think, take a look. So we cut the release candidate 0 in what it was like August 19, and we like waited until like we cut the second release on like 7th of September. So it like takes almost a month to cut the new, to like prepare the new release candidate. And even the final release was like the 1 month, not 1 month, like 2 weeks after. So I think like right after the feature freeze, we should start the distribution phase to just maybe speed up this process. And again, I don't think we should like allocate time to update the docs, for example, because like, as I mentioned before, all of the documentation updates should be part of the working group development. So during the delivering new features, they should just put everything in the docs as well. So once we actually once the community said that on this date we will have the feature freeze, then we can have only like 2 weeks to like have a distribution phase, and that's it. Then we can cut the official Kubeflow 1 something. So for me, I think it will be like more reasonable to have this sort of amount of time, to not like spending 2 months to prepare everything. But yeah, what do you think?
Let me make sure I understand what you have in mind.
Yeah.
So I can understand. I can understand the proposal to do both feature freeze and distribution testing within 2 or 3 weeks. This was an argument, right?
Yep.
And I don't understand the rationale behind this. It was because I didn't get the link between the Katip versions. How did one affect the other? How did the release schedule affect the release of Katip?
Yeah, actually, it is not affecting the Katip at all. We're just trying to, because why we're actually waiting until making the official 0.12, because we wanted from distributions to test our like earliest candidate to make sure we don't have any like crucial bugs before making the official 0.12. So yeah, it is not related to Katip. But since like distribution phase is just the main phase when all of the distributions testing Kubeflow, they can maybe find some problems in our releases as well. Yeah, but this is only like, yeah, it's only why we're just waiting this amount of time. But my point here, like, why do we actually need some amount of time for feature freeze? Like, currently we have 2 weeks, right, for feature freeze? Is it correct? Point me if I'm wrong.
It was 3 actually.
Oh, why? So why this 3 weeks for feature freeze?
Because on these 3 weeks, we need to ensure that the working groups have enough time to actually wrap up any open PRs they might have that are huge and they need to close them, do some final tests they want before they give the final okay distributions to start testing.
I see. But do they actually need this time? I mean, the working group. Do they need like these 3 weeks?
I'd say it's definitely useful because it sets a good context on. It helps the project to stabilize and not keep on adding things and new stuff in the last minute, which will result in bugs to be found in the last minute. But the argument of changing it to 2 weeks, I think this one makes sense.
Yeah, I just like from like our working group, from training and AutoML, like since we have a date and we know like till this date we won't deliver after this date, we won't deliver any new features. And it's like it's fine for us to schedule the working process, the development process until this date. We don't need additional 2 weeks to finalize PRs. Like the working group, from my perspective, working group should be responsible to finalize all of the PRs until the feature freeze will be. But I don't know. I mean, we can hear other opinions. I think we have retrospective docs, right, to discuss it. I think you pointed on the previous meeting about it.
I'm still missing something.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Give me a minute. So even if there is a feature freeze, the problem is that in these 2 weeks of feature freeze, you wanted to actually keep on implementing more things and the feature freeze stopped you?
No. I mean, like if you just imagine, for example, you say like feature freeze will be like, I don't know, 12th of December. So by this date, we as a working group definitely know that we have to like merge all of the PRs and all of the new features should be already in upstream. And we just don't need additional 2 weeks to prepare all of these PRs. We know like until like 12th of December, everything should be in upstream. Does it make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just curious because the question is like, again, why you have this like 3 weeks of like feature freeze. I understand that this could be like more about like preparing the pending PRs and preparing like the feature that the working group like wants to deliver. But if they know the particular date, they can just, because the process, the development process can be different, right? It depends on the working group, and they can have not the same process. And if we say, as their like release management team, we say like till this date you have to like deliver all of your features in upstream, they can maybe just change. I mean, they can manage their development process with this date. But I don't know. This is just my thought. But I don't know how other working groups are planning to just having this their release process. But yeah.
I have
yeah. Go ahead.
Just a small idea. Yeah. How about record the time spent on feature freeze or distribution testing with following several release like 1.0 and 1.6 by all working groups and decide to, is it worth to change the time or not? How about that?
Yeah, Kamenas, what do you think?
I'm not sure I actually understand the proposal here. If it would be better for the working groups to discuss, and what was the proposal?
From this release, how about record all the time, actual spent time on each release step, like feature freeze, how feature freeze and distribution testing?
The question is how we'll record them if we decide how much time they will have on each phase, right? Release management team, yeah. So we don't know, since we like, since this phase can be various, depends on the like distribution, right? So I'm not sure if we can like ask them how much time. Actually, because the problem is like, since maybe some of the distributions will do that on the last day, right? And since they have this period, and it's not very easy to ask everyone to like work in a particular date in a particular week. That is why I'm like pretty confident with the 3 weeks of distribution testing, because it's like the long phase. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, go ahead, Carlos, do you want to say something? Or because this is not the part of this call, I'm just wondering, do we need to do the additional release for KDIP, or we don't want to have it in this year?
Let me okay, so some of the reasons for the feature freeze were also for the docs, because the initial thought was we need, at least that's what they do for Kubernetes, where they define the feature freeze so that people that are writing the docs are also, there is a stable code that's been has been stable, so people can actually start writing the docs since they know that no new features are going to be added. So this was one of the reasons we also had feature freeze. But yeah, this is actually an interesting discussion, which I think we should involve more the community more into it. Andrei, I'm going to and Kim, I'm going to send an email to the mailing list actually, because we have prepared a Google Doc to gather some. It's the retrospective from the release, where we gather feedback about what we could do differently, what worked, what did not, to change the release process for the next one. So could you also add some comments there, so we can also have this discussion again with the release? I'll put the link in here as well, and I'll send email to the list
that
as well.
would be great. I will just take a look at this doc. Yeah, I will try to take a look at this doc and maybe just leave the comments my thoughts about it. But yeah, but just a quick, so the quick question for us: do we want to have KDIP 0.13 before this new year? What do you think? Because I don't know, we can follow again the Kubeflow process for the next releases, but any doubts here or any like ideas if we want to release the 0.13?
I guess this depends on how many new features are going to be developed in the next 2.5 months, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll probably need to take a look on the because we already like developed a lot of delivered a lot of new features in upstream. They probably not the huge one, but they're very important, and probably we want to see them in a new version of KDIP. But yeah, I will try to by the next meeting I will try to take a look at what is the new features do we have currently in upstream, and do we want to release them, for example, before the new year and before the Christmas, because for us it will be straightforward to make the release, and we don't need to wait until different phases will be ended. So yeah, I will try to see what features we have in upstream.
Also, yeah, what you mentioned is a good point actually, and you can also have your release before the manifest and the Kubeflow project releases the entirety of the entire release. And once the distribution testing happens, then you can gather feedback then as well and create a point release based on that feedback.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, we will take a look for the next meeting. Any other thoughts about the KDIP 0.13? Maybe something that we want to deliver. Okay, sounds good. So let's just jump to the next thing. So about this PR, I think so. Basically, what we did here, we renamed one of the APIs to from the gRPC to be consistent. So just a small question here, I think to Jayon, right? So to you, you raised the question about the API. API changes, and I think it's a valuable question because, like, since it is breaking change, how we want to upgrade this API. So what we can do here, we probably can deprecate the current API for the one release, and then just simply remove them from, for example, Ktyb 0.14. For our current suggestions, we can already like renamed, but as a point in this comment, we some of our users can use their own like suggestions. They like custom suggestions with the custom algorithms, and if they don't want to share this to the community, if they use the Ktyb 0.13, their suggestions won't work. So yeah, we can just try to deprecate the API and add the current request number as the additional API, and then just simply remove the request number in the future releases. What do you think about it?
Oh yes, I agree with you that the deprecate for one release and notify for active users. Yes, that will be better.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Yeah, this API is not related to the experiment API, so it's more about the gRPC API. But again, I don't know how many users actually they have their own custom algorithms, so it makes sense to deprecate it.
Just a small question.
Go ahead.
Do you have any idea how to notify for that will be deprecated? Like somewhere a release note or just a comment on the source code? Yeah,
it's a good point. I think because the question is like we just simply invoke this gRPC API from the controller, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I would definitely can like make it in the release note, and we can just make it as well in the protobuf documents there, because like here we have the comments where we can say that this API will be deprecated. But it definitely will be better if we can somehow log this information somewhere. Let me think. Do you have any ideas in mind how to make it in the gRPC API scope?
No, I have. Yeah, because it's no matter what we decide how to notify, but it's hard to. It's inevitable to some confusion for the before version prototype users. Yes, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I will try to take a look how we can do it, but I'm pretty sure that we can do it here as the like deprecated comment. Maybe I can try to take a look how other communities are doing this in the gRPC. I don't know, maybe pipelines are also using gRPC.
Okay.
Yeah, but overall we cannot like notify the custom suggestion service because it is not part of the controllers, because in the controller we just simply invoke the gRPC service and that's it. And we don't really know which kind of the parameters the users are using there. But yeah, I will try to take a look. But in any case, we can just make the release note, and because the API changes, it is fine. It is breaking change, but it isn't like the huge change, which because most of our users, I'm pretty sure they're using our like custom our own suggestions. without their algorithms. But yeah, okay. Any other questions for this PR? Okay. Yeah, come on, as you just poured in about the UI updates, do you want to go ahead with this update?
Oh yeah, just a small heads up that now that I have more cycles, the first thing I'm going to start working on is this PR to update the node version.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one item in the list as well is I have prepared some code to update the web apps for Kubeflow as well in the common code where we will start using responsive tables instead of just cards to display the tables, which is also just what pipelines are doing. I'll create the issues in the project as well. And the second one is I'll also add in the new tables, I'll also add a paginator, which is something that we've discussed previously as well, because we are seeing a lot of trials to keep, if there are a lot of trials being generated, so the table just gets too long. So this will get fixed pretty soon.
Okay. Do you want to create an issue for that? I'm not sure we have.
Yeah. I'll create for both of them.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, I think for the updating the Angular, as I can see, we have problems with building the image, but it might be related to the Kubeflow common code. So yeah, maybe we should also like update the Angular for the Kubeflow common code, right?
The common code is already updated, but I'm not sure. Okay. I haven't had the time to take a look at the problem there, but I'll take a look and see how I can help.
Yeah, makes sense. And I think we also have one question about the package.json. So I'm not sure if you take a look at this PR. This is just, yeah.
Oh yeah, add it to the notes. I'll take a look to it as well.
There are actually a couple of the PRs from the UI. So if you can take a look, I think, yeah, I can post all of them in the in our doc. Let me do that. So I think this one is this one, right? So I think it's 3 of them. So yeah, Angular, you have already like done it. The bug about the list of the type. Okay, it's
awesome. I'll do a pass and take a look at most of them. Thanks.
Yeah, because the question is there. I don't know if you like know about the updating npm version. Yeah, give me 1 second. So so I think in this one, so basically this PR is fixing one of the bug fixes, but the point that I'm raised here, so we're using currently npm version 6.13 and later. Do you know which version of Node are using in the Kubeflow common repo, in the Kubeflow common like UIs?
6 point something, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I see. Yeah, because in npm over 7, they're using the new version of package lock, which is v2. So the question is here, maybe we can just simply upgrade to the npm version 7 and get rid of package lock version 1. What do you think?
I need to check what's the migration process and how to do this upgrade. But yeah, good thing to have in mind. Because it affects the other web apps as well, so let's address it.
Yeah, as like I think as we discussed here, they're compatible. But my question is here: do we really need to manage npm like version less than version 7? If all of the UIs, like all of the components will be compatible and all the components will be working fine. So in that case, I don't see any reasons to not like upgrade the npm. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's like that, sure, let's upgrade. I just don't, I haven't seen
Yeah, sure.
the process. That's why I'm not sure if it's going to be that easy. But if it is, yeah, let's just upgrade.
Sure, sure. So I mean, when you take a look, you can just figure out what is like, because I'm not sure all of the like, as I mentioned, like all of the upgrade process there. But I mean, again, do you think if our KDPI will use a different version npm from the Kubeflow common repo, can we still use Angular Kubeflow as an Angular library, or we should have the similar version of Node, similar version of npm for the two UIs?
I think it should be okay, because at the end of the day, the common code gets compiled into a module, a node module. So I wouldn't expect that if someone wants to use npm 7, then all of the node modules should be built with npm 7. So 99%, even if the upstream Kubeflow sticks with npm 6, we should be okay with upgrading to npm 7.
I see. Yeah, so basically in Angular, you're just like importing the library, and they should like work with each other even if they have a different version of npm, right?
Theoretically, yes, but again, just with a grain of salt, I'll have to look more into it.
Yeah, sure, makes sense. Yeah, because looking to our project, we still have some things to do here. We definitely need to find people who just will be interested in contributing to the UI, because I think it's very important. We have a lot of items which we can improve there. Yeah, so I hope, since even if you have some cycles, it will be great if we can, like, maybe not the next, maybe like in the then maybe in the Kubeflow 1.5 we maybe can try to merge all of the not the new features, but the features that currently missing from the old UI, and then we can safely deprecate the old UI and mainly focus on the new one, right? Because currently some of the features are missing there. What do you think? Does it make sense?
Yeah, of course it makes sense, but missing cycles is something that...
Yeah, I understand completely. So, I mean, it is fine that we don't have enough time to do everything by ourselves, but maybe we can just, again, I think Josh can help here, because we can maybe attract people from the cloud native community if they want to, if they have some experience in the UI, and if they want to contribute. This is like the awesome opportunity for them, because they don't really need to deal with some sophisticated algorithms or like a lot of Kubernetes work here. We can just try to find the engineers who are just familiar with the UI, with the front-end development, and ask them to contribute to Kubeflow. Yeah. But we'll see, because from my perspective, it's a great opportunity for new people to be part of the community. Yeah, from the UI perspective, because it's easy to implement new features there. Okay, any other questions, comments? Maybe from a training perspective. Yeah, because looking to the training, I think we don't have Josh here right now, unfortunately, and Jonah, but we're making the 1.3 release. I think the work there, the MPI migration, is still in progress. Yeah, let me put the issue here. And I'm not sure if the next release will include the MPI, but we will try to do it. The problem is with the MPI, still have the V1 and V2 version. We don't really know which one should be included in the uniform operator. And since a lot of companies using V1 in production, it's very hard for them to migrate into the V2 version of MPI. Yeah, but we will try to see how we can manage these two versions in the Unify, because overall, eventually we should have all of the training operators in the Unify one, and we should deprecate all of the legacy training operators repositories as well. think we have anything else for the training side. I think the minor work from the MPI Elastic training. Yeah, but I'm not sure about it. Okay. Any questions from the training side, maybe from the creative, but I'm not sure we have people, but I don't know if you have something to ask.
I have a simple question, hopefully.
Yep.
So we have training operators, the unified training operator right now does the 4, and we may add in MPI in the next release or so, right?
We hope so.
Yeah. And so this may be a stupid question. I haven't researched it, but is there a training operator requirement for Scikit?
What? Sorry?
For Scikit-learn?
Oh, for Scikit. Yeah. So we don't have operator for Scikit-learn. We definitely can, because I know I'm not sure if Scikit-learn support distributed training. Do you know something about it?
I don't know. I was just asking because I didn't know anything about it. I'm not saying that we should do it. I was just asking, is that something that we should do, could do, don't need to do?
Yeah, I think first of all, probably we should start. We should start with the user requirements there. And so, do you have the end users who want to use a distributed Kubernetes operator in Scikit-learn?
I don't have anybody asking me for that at this point. I have seen a lot of maybe tutorials based on Scikit, and I hear people talk about it, but I haven't had anyone come to me and say, hey, I need distributed training operator for Scikit.
Yeah, because we're using actually Scikit Optimize and Kerip for Bayesian optimization. So Scikit Optimize is the part of Scikit-learn. Yeah, but it's not for distributed training. The question is here, like if we have the requirements from the users that they want to use if the Scikit community actually support distributed way of doing this in the cloud. But yeah, I think I've never heard about this before. I know in PyTorch maybe I have some issue there.
Okay, it was not a requirement. It was just a question.
Yeah, sure.
We don't have to pursue, but if it comes across, I just want to be able to answer it appropriately. And right now we don't have it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people. I mean, they can run Scikit-learn as a part of their container, just a simple container in the training, right? The question is like the operators want help, right? Yeah, because like eventually they're using the distributed technology from the PyTorch or from the TensorFlow by specifying the particular like information in the environment. I know about the MPI because MPI are using some different technologies there. Let me see. So they have examples for MXNet, Horowod. Yeah, maybe for example, if Horowod have some of the examples how to run Scikit-learn models in distributed manner, in that case we can support it. But we definitely should like investigate it. Yeah. But MPI is very powerful, Josh, because like MPI under the hood, they supporting some other like distributed mechanism, not only like for MPI. Yeah, but we can try to. Yeah, I will try to actually ask people also about it.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Yep. Just a question. Okay. Thanks.
Sounds good. Yeah. Any other question for the training, or we can wrap up? Yeah, about the release, I also like can't say it right now if we want to make the new release before 1.5, but we can figure out that in the next couple of meetings from the training, other leads from the training side. Okay, sounds good. So thank you guys today for joining. So see you again next time. Hope you have a good rest of the week. Bye, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.